In today's news, Wheatley organized crime, a rising OECS CARICOM concern. Talk show host says government falling short of awareness. Festival honors cultural icons. Government cultural leaders discuss plans and historical focus. We have the details of this and much more when 284 News returns.
As the winds start to whisper of approaching storms, it's time to safeguard your sanctuary.
Hey, have you checked your insurance policy lately?
Not recently, why?
It's very important to check your insurance policy before the hurricane season.
That's a good idea. I'll reach out to my provider and get some information.
Awesome. Come son, let's plan for emergencies together. We're gonna include your favorite comfort kit.
Thanks, Dad. That makes me feel safer.
We're packing extra medications and extra batteries for your hearing aid.
And by the way, don't forget my glasses.
Okay, Pops.
Alright, let me see. Okay. What's going on, dog?
What you saying? You good?
You got truck? How you on here doing?
I hear trimming some of the branches to make sure they don't cause a frig when the storm come.
Fair point. I gotta go clean out the gutter them down by me so nothing don't build up. You know how that could go sometimes.
Makes sense. That's all good. We gotta be prepared.
Facts.
Sometimes we get off track, but that's okay.
Yeah. Thanks for chilling with the dog today, you know.
Man, anytime, you know I got you.
Yeah, but the place so damn hot now. And you know the old people them say when it's so hot, a storm somewhere out there coming.
Listen, I rebuke that in the name of great God of the universe, okay? Let me move these stuff so they don't cause a problem.
Alright, me want my neighbor window get knocked out at all, my son.
Remember, we're in this together. Reach out to your community, lend a hand, and shield each other from the storm's challenges. A message from the Department of Disaster Management and 284 Media.
Hello everyone and welcome to this edition of 284 News. It is July 23rd, 2025. I'm Ron Grant bringing you the very latest out of Tortola in the Virgin Islands. Thank you so much for joining us. A happy Thursday and allow me to officially wish you a happy festival. The BVI and the rest of the region are growing increasingly concerned about organized crime. Premier of the Virgin Islands, Wheatley, told a press conference this week these issues have become prevalent in the OECS and CARICOM. He said they have reached out to the United Kingdom for assistance in fighting this threat.
We're hearing similar kind of observations in all of the different countries in CARICOM, in the OECS. We know that groups are walking across national boundaries, and so it's important for us to all work together to confront this criminal organization that's essentially operating between South, Central America, and all of the islands in between, straight up to the United States and other places. These criminals have resources. They have lots of money. They have equipment. They have, obviously, they have access to guns, etc. So it is a real threat, and we have to confront it with the urgency and the seriousness that it deserves. We have asked the United Kingdom for more assistance because, of course, internal and external security is a responsibility of the United Kingdom. We are grateful for like HMS Medway, for instance, being in the region as it is hurricane season. But we've even asked the United Kingdom for a more permanent presence in the Caribbean to be able to disrupt human trafficking, drug smuggling, and gun smuggling, of course. But we remain engaged with them. We're grateful for whatever assistance they've been able to provide. But certainly we believe with the threat that we face, more can be done.
You've identified it as a problem now. So could it be said that the territory previously had its guard down on this situation?
You mean in terms of?
In terms of preventing it or stop them getting a foothold here, organized crime?
Well, I think it's a challenge for everybody. You know, I don't think necessarily you can say that it's not something that was taken serious before. But of course, we have to recognize the change in complexion of crime in our territory, and we have to put mechanisms in place to be able to deal with it, you know, similar to what Jamaica has done.
A bold suggestion to Premier Dr. the Honorable Natalia D. Wheatley let the campaign on independence begin, but with a caution: he must speak to the people. It comes from talk show host Claude Skelton-Klein during his Honestly Speaking radio program Tuesday evening. The Friday Sage, in its post last week, said the United Nations Special Committee on Decolonization has adopted a draft resolution for consideration by the wider membership of the UN that calls for the full decolonization of the British Virgin Islands, which remains under the unilateral authority of the United Kingdom, and as the territory's administering power. Now, the authority viewers of the Friday Sage opinioned that it would be important to know how much of the people's money has been invested in the constant prodding by the diplomat and the leader of government business in this initiative. The author said further they have not asked for their permission to make representations on their behalf, and they have given them no instructions. Claude Skelton-Klein said he is in full agreement with those sentiments.
Let the campaign for independence begin. That sounds good, right? Yes. But let me say to our premier and this government, you must, and you have not yet heretofore, come to the people of the Virgin Islands and tell them what you are doing in a systematic, sequential order. It is irresponsible for such actions, though necessary, and please hear me by the Spirit. Benito is doing his job and is doing it well. Premier, you're doing that part of your job and you're doing it well. But what you're not doing so well is communicating to the people of this country on such a matter with such gravity.
The talk show host has also strongly suggested the formation of an independence commission,
who will have a particular mandate for a particular period of time to return the particular reports, to go throughout this country with sensitizing, educating, re-educating. This is not new. Take a page out of what the UK did with Brexit. There was a campaign for Brexit. Now they later will regret, by and large, that decision, but there was a campaign, there was a vote. Now, I know there are those who say we don't need a referendum. I agree in principle. But right now, the bridge in front of us is sensitizing this community, educating and re-educating this community on the next step for our already self-determined path. We're being derelict by doing it on one side of the ocean and not in the country. And I want to remind you all politics is local. And when you screw up locally, it doesn't matter how well you're doing internationally. The folk will vote you out of office. I'm telling you now. And I might as well, for those who would not know, and I don't know who would not know this, Skelton-Klein is a strong proponent and advocate for the ultimate political status of the Virgin Islands as an independent nation. That I'm on the record from Eve, Noah, and Adam. Okay? But what I'm saying here, the government, you're dropping the ball by not bringing this thing home full court press, with informing these people. Let everybody lift their voice and sing. You can't be afraid of what the answer going to be. Everybody have a right to be wrong or a right to be right. But they must be heard. They must be respected.
Still to come, new steps, public help needed in cleanup of abandoned cars. We have the details of this and much more coming right up.
My name's Henry Bosch. I work for PPG. I'm here to explain to you the use of the Deltron NXT paint line and Enviro-based high performance, one being solvent-borne and the next being waterborne. The difference is that one is totally manufactured with rosins and thinners and all the good stuff that solvents bring versus our new technology, which is waterborne, which is 100% latex. What we're gonna do is that we reduce the solvent-borne with a DT885, which is a mid-temp reducer, and the waterborne uses T494, which is a waterborne reducer. We will today be using either DCU 2042, which is a speed clear, or we will be using DCU 2021, which is a classic. We have here our equipment. We have 8-ounce measuring cups, and we also have our 32-ounce mixing cup. We will also have with us our Venturi. This is a blower for us to dry the waterborne paint, which speeds up the process. The good thing about waterborne paint is that as soon as it evaporates, you're good to go. So now Gilligan will dilute the waterborne paint with the waterborne reducer. We made 8 ounces, that would be 1.6 ounce. It always has to be properly mixed until we get an even mixture within the paint mixing cup. So when we spray, we don't see uneven coats of color. So right now we're filling our paint gun with 8 ounces of diluted paint. We're gonna see how far 8 ounces will take us. Waterborne paint seems to look blotchy on your first coat. Don't pay no mind to that. Don't try to achieve full coverage on your first spray. Excellent. Let it dry. So the process in waterborne is 2 even coats, and then we have what we call a dust coat. Well, now we're gonna have Mr. Brown apply the first coat of clear on his waterborne panel. We'll let it flash off, and then he'll come back and coat it with his second coat to finish it off. As you had seen in the previous shots, we had a little blotchiness, and you'll see some patches. That's all due on purpose to sandpaper to prove that with Enviro-based high performance, all technicians, the body work has to end at 800 grit or plus. Well, Enviro-based is like, we're trying to shift everyone into that slowly but surely. The entire west coast of the United States and all of Canada has already been on waterborne for the past 10 years. And now soon it'll be the eastern seaboard, which covers the Caribbean. So when that happens, we'll all be affected. So it's best to start now, start trying and applying waterborne, because eventually everyone will be on it. And referring to technicians, it's less harmful because it doesn't have all the toxic chemicals that solvent-borne paints do.
Welcome back, everyone. As Emancipation Festival events unfold across the Virgin Islands, officials say this year's celebration carries a renewed sense of duty, both to protect the public and preserve the legacy behind the rivalry. This year's festival village is dedicated to the late Neil Charlie Frett, a longtime parade organizer and member of the 1975 Festival Committee. Organizers say this decades of service have left an enduring mark on the event's legacy as well as community spirit.
I actually met him there when I joined the festival committee in 1986, and at that time it was still under the Festival and Fairs Committee of 1975 Limited. Okay. And his responsibility was the parade, and he did an excellent job in getting the parade started, so on time. So there was this cadre of really interesting community-minded spirit persons that really took the festival from the JCs back in the day, and then the Festival and Fairs Committee 1975 Limited. So what we do every year is we kind of alternate in a sense. If it's not, this year might have been a booth owner, last year was a booth owner, and then the following year you would recognize somebody else who in some other way had significantly contributed to the development of festival or the role they might have played.
Also recognized is Kenesha Sprov, named Parade Marshal for 2025 for her years of behind-the-scenes work in troop coordination, a quiet role that adds vibrancy to the festival's visual tradition. As the Virgin Islands prepare to celebrate freedom, officials are calling on residents and visitors alike to protect the culture, honor the legacy, and keep the festival safe. During a recent episode of Virgin Islands Voice, officials from the government of the Virgin Islands and key festival stakeholders provided updates pertaining to the festival 2025. Junior Minister for Tourism, the Honorable Luce Hodge-Smith, spoke on this year's expectations.
This evening we will be sharing some pertinent information about our Emancipation Festival 2025, which we all know spans from Rowtown, goes to Eastern Longlook area, and then it culminates at Carrot Bay. This year, 2025, marks the 191st year from when the Emancipation Proclamation was read, freeing all enslaved persons. These persons were, however, placed in an apprenticeship arrangement for 4 years after, and it was therefore in 1838 when the enslaved were considered truly free. We as Virgin Islanders have celebrated this significant historical milestone for many years. The format of our structure of the celebrations have changed over the years, and you'll hear more about this from Dr. Catherine Smith, Director of Culture. Under this year's theme, Embrace the Past, Let Unity Thrive, as we celebrate Emancipation 2025, or celebrate Emancipation Festival 2025. There are 17 days of events from tomorrow beginning 25th July with the Gospel Fest to the closing at Carrot Bay on 9th August. And in between, there are events in Eastern Longlook. You'll hear more about these activities from Mrs. Penlake when she arrives, and she is the chairperson of the Festival and Fairs Committee. Congratulations are heartily extended to the winners of the Prince and Princess Show, which was held last Sunday on 20th July. Job well done to all the participants and the organizers. I take this opportunity, of course, to wish everyone a happy festival, fun-filled and safe Emancipation Festival 2025.
Director of Culture, Dr. Catherine Smith, spoke about the background of festival celebrations.
I think that when we talk about the Emancipation Festival, it's so significant because it's a celebration of not only heritage, but also of culture. So at its heart, this celebration is a commemoration of emancipation, one of the most important events in the history and life of our Virgin Islands to have happened. I think when we look at why we do this, we need to dig deeper into the history, not only the history of festival, which of course we need to dig deeply into, but also the history of enslavement and emancipation.
Dr. Smith specifically gave examples of some of the Virgin Islands historical events that should be remembered during this time, such as the hanging of planter Arthur Hodge and others who were instrumental. Mrs. Natalie Penlake, chairperson of the Virgin Islands Festival and Fairs Committee, spoke on what can be expected during this year's festival activity.
You know, with everything that we do in the BVI, we start with God in the middle. So we are starting our 71st Virgin Islands Emancipation Festival with the Gospel Fest, commencing tomorrow. We're inviting all persons to come out to be a part of that celebration. The team that spearheads that activation put a lot of work into it. And I think we should come out and celebrate and be a part of the Gospel Fest and what that has to offer in the festivities. Thereafter, we move into the opening night of Village with the start of the Torchlight Procession. Honorable Luce mentioned we'll be starting from the Noah Lloyd Park and we'll be headed up into the Charlie Neal's Festival, where we will have a activity that will be done in honor of Mrs. Parsons, and thereafter we will go into the coronation of the Miss BVI and the Mr. and Miss Junior BVI. Thereafter, Village really kicks off with the first paid night being on Saturday with Kester Band and Vibe, one of our very own popular local. And we go into a lot of the other activities leading up to the end. There's some cultural elements in the village this year where we have a night that's called we from the VI night, and that night is only local, only Virgin Islands band, no overseas, just Virgin Islands band that will be performing in the village that night. We have the Calypso show, we have the Soca Monarch competition. We find that a lot of people this year, I mean, they came out in numbers to participate in these events. So I think we should come out and support them and lend our support so they could know that we're here for them. The winners of those competitions would take part in the International Soca Night. So the Calypso winner and the Soca winner would perform their winning acts at the International Soca Night in the village.
Up next, 3-match series kicks off Friday against St. Kitts and NEVIS. This and much more coming right up.
Just give me my service. Yeah. Just give me my service. Just give me my service.
Make the switch to CCT and get connected today. Unlimited talk, text, and data. Visit any CCT store or call us at 444-4444. CCT, Life Unlimited.
Start the year off with more. More speed, more downloading, more savings, and more fire. CCT Fire Fiber Internet gives you the speed you need to keep the whole family connected. Packages starting at $119 with speeds from 300 megabytes per second, super fast, unlimited downloads, even more reliable connectivity, plus free live streaming TV for the family to enjoy. Sign up for the absolute best fiber internet service in the BVI, CCT Fire, and pay no installation fee. Plus, get CCT Live TV for free. You deserve more. Get more with CCT. Life Unlimited.
Welcome back, viewers, and thanks for sticking with us. Director of Waste Management in the Virgin Islands, Mr. Marcus Solomon, recently shed light on the procedures government are using to derelict vehicles in the Virgin Islands. The matters surrounding derelict vehicles and their governing the removal have been a long-standing conversation in the Virgin Islands with fresh approaches to handling this matter.
What the law says is that a derelict vehicle is any vehicle, whether that be equipment, a boat, a trailer, that is considered to be abandoned, not in use, or in a dilapidated state.
Does your department have oversight on the management of things like derelict vehicles or derelict boats, rather? Because when you think vehicle, automatically you're going to think cars, but boats, as you said, is included in this definition. So you oversee the boats as well?
Yes, but it's a little tricky, but it's understandable. It's easily understood if we look at the law. What the law says is that where the boat is considered a derelict boat, and it's on land, whether that be public land or private land, it then becomes the responsibility of the department. If it's not on land, it's the responsibility of another department.
Solomon also highlighted a number of key issues facing the territory related to derelict vehicles.
There are a number of issues, but I'll focus on 5 core issues that really affects us as a department and as a country overall, and how we have to treat with derelict vehicles. The first is the law itself. Whilst we have a law which speaks of derelict vehicles, the issue of its full enforcement or the full administration of the law, we have not reached there. For instance, one of the things is that we do not collect derelict fees, and the law speaks to collection of derelict fees. So that creates one hindrance for us. The other one is the high cost associated with the administration of derelict vehicles. That cost ranges from the actual wrecking of the vehicle to the actual storage costs associated with the vehicle, because you have to pay to store it, because we rent in particular, the rental costs, and then there is a cost associated with disposal. And that cost is more related to processing it or breaking it down into smaller pieces so it can fit on a barge and be exported to a country that can treat with the Derelct vehicles. So those associated costs are very high, and it's actually something that the public pays for through government giving us money, of course. So that is one of the major hindrances. It will be based on our budget. We are able to do certain things, right? Another major one is the department does not have access to the vehicle ownership information. That most times resides with another department. Like for vehicles and equipment, that will reside with the Department of Motor Vehicle. For shipping information, we'll have to go to shipping registry. And it takes a while, and in some cases, the delays related to bureaucracy does not allow us to get the information on time to be able to give notice to the actual owners, right? So that is also a challenge. Another challenge is we do have, when we tag the vehicles or the boats, the illegal removal or cannibalization of the Derelct vehicle for parts by members of the public or mechanics themselves, or even the owner trying to hide the vehicle after they see the tag on it. So that also is a major challenge for us. And the other one is and I think this is something that would have made public just recently. Nobody wants a Derelct vehicle site next to them. So securing an appropriate site that will not have any public disquiet is a challenge as well. So those are the main issues that the department face when we try to administer on the Derelct vehicles.
He spoke specifically about identifying derelict vehicles and the public's role in assisting the department.
Well, the first thing we look for is that we look to see if the tag is still relevant, if the date on the tag is still good. So we first look to see if it's an expired registration tag. We also look to see if it's where it comes to the car itself. We look to see if it has license plates. We look to see if it's we look to see if all of them are in a state of disrepair. We also do surveillance reports on a daily basis. Our officer of the department will roam the territory and to see if there are vehicles on the roads in public spaces, and they will take note of the vehicles that they see on this day. So over time, if they see the vehicle is not moving or unused, then we'll go to issue tags as well. So those are some of the things that we'll use to help us identify vehicles. Another area we use as well, and we put a plug here for the public. We actually, a lot of the information comes from members of the public as well. So the public will make contact with the department. We treat it as a service request. Within 24 to 72 hours, an officer goes to check to see if indeed it is fitting of Derelct vehicle status, and we will then issue a tag on those vehicles. So those are some of the things that help us identify Derelct vehicles on the island.
The BVI Under-14 girls national team is headed to Anguilla for a weekend of regional football action. They'll face St. Kitts and NEVIS at 6 p.m. on Friday, Dominica at 6 p.m. on Saturday, and wrap up the series against host Anguilla at 7:30 p.m. on Sunday. Now the matches form part of the Caribbean Football Union's Youth Development Series.
The BVI will be heading to Anguilla to play 3 friendly games as they tune up for the CFU Challenge Series. Let's go over and meet the team.
Denicia Richardson,
China Jessamine,
Paige Vasco Gabriel,
Chelsea Dyer,
Tejani Williams,
Micadia Preble,
Grace Tucker, Erin Westlake, Lily Graham,
Asia Lee Llewellyn,
Tina Richardson,
Julia Martin,
Davia Nelson,
Kaylin Williams,
Deniqua Cameron,
Jaleki Richards, Tyler Richardson.
That is it for today's News Roundup. Be sure to follow us for your daily news updates at 284 Media and 284 BVI on Instagram and X, formerly Twitter. I'm Ron Grant. Do have a safe and enjoyable evening. A happy Thursday. Goodbye.